whenever I first heard it, I was like, wow, that would have been a luxury back in the day to have a car to sleep in. In the summer of 2020, like right after the pandemic started, I was living in Philadelphia at the time, and this is where I grew up, but I moved back here, and just my daughter and I, and so we didn't have, I was staying with family, but we didn't have a home. And someone through my sister's church in State College mentioned Bridge of Hope, and I just reached out to them and got connected like that through a church.
Bridge of Hope works to end family homelessness here in Centre County, and we do that by creating a neighborhood of support around families who are facing homelessness. We work exclusively with single moms who are facing homelessness in some way, and so when we bring them into our program, our first job is to secure housing for them.
These are groups of people from a Christian faith community, and they just love on the mom, and they, help with things like finding housing or accessing services, or just being friends with them, babysitting, maybe even some job leads.
They not only help you financially, but they have neighboring volunteers, and so there was 4 women who, they're like assigned to be a part of my family.
So this is called The Year as a House, a Blessing by Jan Richardson. Think of the year as a house, door flung wide in welcome, threshold swept and...
I had plans this weekend actually to go to Harrisburg and stay with my sponsor for the weekend. And then when I was asked to speak today, I canceled all my weekend plans because this event just means so much to me, that people are willing to sleep in their cars for a night just to raise money for people like me who have, gotten into a bad situation and need help, getting out of it.
We are here to spend the night in our cars, and really it is to help us to build a little bit of empathy and awareness for the many families who have had to do this without a choice because they had nowhere else to go.
This is our launch of what we hope will be a successful annual event.
Yeah. Kendra is our most recent Bridge of Hope graduate. She came into our program about 1.5 years ago, having just recently relocated to Centre County. She had lived here when she was in high school and grew up here, but then moved out of the area. And then when she left an abusive and dangerous situation, she had nowhere to go. She was actually living with friends of her family, and it was not a long-term living situation. She was with her 1-year-old daughter, and she didn't have a job. She didn't have her own apartment. She didn't have other connections really in this area.
Not having a home, not having somewhere to just sort of take a deep breath and relax and feel comfortable. You're always kind of just on edge. I felt welcome where I was because it was with friends and family, but it just didn't feel like home.
I was a single parent for 14 and a half years, and I did face homelessness. I got evicted from a landlord 2 weeks before Christmas. He gave me the notice, and I had to be out by New Year's or something. So I had people help me find another place. And so if I hadn't had that and had to end up in the car with my 2 young sons in the middle of the winter, I don't know what I would have done.
Probably the hardest time in my life was when I lost my mom to suicide at age 12. So that was probably the most defining moment in my life. New Year's Eve 20 years ago, she killed herself. So that taught me a lot, but also was probably the hardest thing that I had ever been through. But 20 years past it, I still deal with it every day, but it is a great reminder that if I got through that, like there's nothing I can't get through. Probably about 6 years ago, I'm in recovery. I was pretty bad into addiction before my daughter was born, and I've, lived on streets of Philadelphia and really lost my way. I began the road to recovery and had my daughter, and when the pandemic hit, I noticed some behaviors show back up. And in the situation that I was in, I knew that it wasn't going to end well if I stayed where I was and with who I was. And so it was like either leave or stay here and walk down a path I didn't want to walk back down. The world kind of hardened my heart in the sense that I felt like I deserved to be where I was, and I didn't deserve anything better. And Bridge of Hope just sort of changed my perspective on that and helped me value my life more.
I think it'll be okay, but it wouldn't be preferable all the time. So the night was, it was interesting. I came out rather late because I was on the security detail until 2 o'clock in the morning. So when I came out, it was extremely difficult to fall asleep. I was really aware as I did that we had lots of time to prepare for this. And sometimes families don't know they're going to end up in their car that night, so they don't have the opportunity to have all this stuff. Thinking about trying to do this on a regular basis, one night was great. If I had to do it several nights in a row or even for several months in a row, it would be extremely difficult.
Those that struggle aren't always, what you think of as bad people, like good people struggle. I was at a point where everything I owned was stolen. I had, nothing but like the clothes on my back because everything, you don't have a home, you don't have places to put things, and people take it. We take that for granted every day, like walking around with our keys to cars and houses and stuff. Like, it is just anxiety. It's really hard to explain, but, in the days whenever it was really bad, I guess I was at a point where I lost my will to live. I didn't care where I was, and so you lose yourself. You feel like you have no value. For a while, I couldn't forgive myself. I couldn't see past my past, and I needed someone who opened their arms and they were like, "You're still valuable. You still deserve love. You still deserve respect." And we're here to help you no matter what you've done. When you're cast out, and judged and just sort of looked down upon, you take on that persona. You take that on and carry it around. So it's important to have people around you to build you up. When things get hard, my one neighboring volunteer bought me a thing that says, "Life is tough, darling, but so are you." Right? Yeah, this is hard, this is tough, but you can do it. And I'm right here with you.